good?
Yeah.
Great.
Alright, so, you know, it's cool for people to say, you know what, I write poetry, I do this and I do that, but it's another thing when you start to write poems that make you really uncomfortable. And I feel like those are usually the ones most necessary. We write like spitting poems and we don't like talking about ourselves. And so this poem is kind of one of those. I also have a chapbook if you want it.
How much is
It's
it?
$10.
Only $10?
It's practically a steal.
So here's to this. Fat is unable to bend and buckle my sandals. Fat is not being able to get on all the rides at Six Flags. Fat is not fitting comfortably in an airplane seat. Fat is gaining 50 pounds in 1 year. Fat is wearing the same shirt 4 days in a row because it's the only thing that doesn't cling to me like it's jealous of my skin. Fat is avoiding every surface that vomits my reflection. Fat is calling myself fat before you get a chance to. Fat is knowing what position in bed makes my rolls disappear. Fat is just because they make it in my size doesn't mean I can wear it. Fat is saying fat so much it sounds like a color. Fat is Captain Crunch for breakfast and fried food for lunch. Fat is heart disease waiting for me. Fat is happy at least something is waiting for me. Fat is trying to evict my own body. Fat is never undressing in the light. Fat is never dressing in the light. Fat is girdle. Fat is riding bicycle and stranger pointing calling me Debo. Fat is don't eat ice cream in public. Fat is never wanting to be empty. Fat is empty can look a lot like lonely. Fat is worthy enough to hold on to something. Fat is remembering everything except when to stop wanting. Fat is the overloving of things that don't love me at all. Fat is take and to swallow and never say no. Fat is sometimes thinking fat is my name. Fat is not saying big boned or thick or it runs in my family. Fat is if I don't look for food to calm me, I will find a man who can. Fat is I'd rather be fat than slut. Fat is shotgun all the time. Fat is sinking the kayak. Fat is 306 pounds. Fat is really, you carry it well. Fat is tired of carrying things well. Fat is not the opposite of beautiful. Fat is uncomfortable. This poem makes me uncomfortable.